Pierre Boahema studio here at Northridge. Let's get into our headlines for this afternoon. Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament visits Ghana Armed Forces recruitment site as exercise resumes in a structured and orderly manner following the November 12 stampede in which 6 females lost their lives. Human and animal health experts warn of more deaths related to antibiotic resistance due to prevalent abuse in both humans and animals. Coming up on Business Edge, we will discuss the agribusiness sector in Ghana and prospects in the 2026 budget as presented to Parliament a week ago. This and more coming up now. Please stay with us. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now, on to our first story for this afternoon. Our stakeholders in human and animal and environmental health space are urging concerted efforts in the fight against antibiotic abuse as it is causing the emergence of superbugs which currently cannot be tackled by any drugs. This was made known at the Maiden Antimicrobial Resistance AMR conference held in Ghana. There's more.
Through the AHSS, we are working to build a resilient animal health system that can respond effectively to AMR. Our interventions include strengthening the veterinary services to ensure timely disease detection and treatment, enhance laboratory capacity for accurate diagnosis and AMR surveillance, training veterinarians and para-veterinarians on responsible antimicrobial use, and supporting farmers and farmers group with education and biosecurity and alternatives to antibiotics. These efforts are not isolated. They are part of the broader national strategy to integrate animal health into the Ghana AMR's action plan. I must also highlight the remarkable contribution of the UK government through the Fleming Fund. Their support has been transformative. The Fleming Fund has enabled Ghana to establish AMR surveillance in both human and animal health sectors, upgrade laboratories with modern equipment and quality assurance systems, build the capacity of professionals through training and mentorship, facilitate data sharing and policy development under the One Health framework. This partnership has positioned Ghana as a leader in AMR surveillance in West Africa. It demonstrates the power of international collaboration in addressing global health challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, while we celebrate these achievements, we must acknowledge that the fight against AMR is far from over. We need continued investment, stronger partnerships, and behavioral change at all levels, from policymakers to farmers. Let us commit to prudent use of antibiotics in both human and animal health, sustained funding for AMR surveillance and research, and community engagement to promote awareness and compliance.
We all know the issue of AMR, and for the environment sector, I think our scope is very, very broad. When everything ends up, it ends up in the environment, the land, the air, and the water bodies. And that is where we are supposed to take care of. And so we are doing our best in that area. We have a lot of areas to work on, and we are tackling it in bits. And so we are happy that we are part of the AMR community now. Now, for the Environmental Protection Authority, I think prior to 2025, we were an agency, but 2025, we became an authority, and the authority gave us a larger mandate. Now we are to regulate, coordinate, collaborate, monitor, and enforce environmental standards.
From health, let's do some social stories. As the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources is mourning the death of a task force member of the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat who died in an accident on Wednesday, November 19, 2025. Here is the statement. Let's stay into our screens now. Now, Ministry mourns the loss of the NEMO's tax member in fatal accident. The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources regrets to announce that a team of 5 members of the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat was involved in a fatal motor accident today near the Wasi Airport area. That was yesterday. Now, the incident occurred while the team was undertaking a major anti-galamsey operation aimed at curbing the menace of illegal mining within the enclave. Tragically, 1 member of the task force has been confirmed dead, while the remaining 4 sustained serious injuries and are currently receiving medical care. The minister extends his profound sympathies to the family of our fallen colleague and conveys his heartfelt wishes for a swift recovery to the injured team members. Now, the ministry has initiated a full investigation into the circumstances surrounding the accident. We remain steadfast in our commitment to safeguarding the welfare of all front-line personnel and will ensure they receive the utmost support and care. And this was signed by the Communication Directorate of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Now, Media Relations Officer of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Parkwesi Shandov, has emphasized that the safety of all frontliners is the principal concern of the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, evident in the commissioning of an investigation into the cause of the fatal accidents which resulted in the loss of a National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat Task Force member. He spoke on Good Morning Ghana.
The safety of welfare and well-being of all the persons at the front line is a principal concern to the minister. That is why, for starters, he has commissioned an investigation to establish the cause of this particular accident. Based on the findings, based on the outcomes, then we'll be able to develop mechanisms to address any potential loophole that probably may have led to this accident. That is, if it was not maybe, so to say, just a natural fatality. So that is the reason for this particular investigation. In terms of other measures that the minister is considering to ensure the safety of all persons who are on the front line, today, for example, you would have a meeting with the leadership of NIMOS, and then a couple of discussions will be had in that respect, and across other agencies and all other persons who are involved in the fight against illegal mining. It is a very sad development, and so naturally everybody who is part of the secretariat is emotionally affected. Myself, principally the minister, for him, we can say he's very distraught as of now. But it has not necessarily dampened the momentum of the team at all. Indeed, in as much as everybody is sunken in emotions, the enthusiasm is still high, but it is mixed with grief. But we hope that we'll be able to recover from that quickly and then get back to work, because the greatest tribute that actually we can pay to the memory of the departed brother is to win the war. And so, though we are saddened, I'm sure we'll be able to quickly recover and then continue with what we've always been doing. We are winning the war. I've often said repeatedly on several other platforms that the extent of devastation that has deepened over the last 8 years is so critical that no matter the rafts of interventions and policies that you roll on board, you bring on board immediately, you will not be able to get instantaneous results. So if you want to measure the progress, you have to put it against the depth of devastation, what has happened over the last 8 years, and what you are doing now. Anytime we have done that analysis, we have been impressed with the results and the verdicts and the outcome. But we are still not resting on our laurels, because indeed there is so much more to be done, and we are committed to that. No room for complacency at all.
The strategic importance of the collaboration.
We are in an era whereby sustainability has not just become just a household name, but has now become, let me say, a market which drives economies. And so as a group of company, we are very particular on that. And that is the reason why this particular partnership is being formed. We also have as one of our core pillars in driving our sustainability, that is being partnership. So this partnership is, as already said by the previous speakers, is not going to be an ordinary partnership.
On her part, Professor Denton underscored the critical need for such a partnership, indicating that green businesses were essential to the climate change fight.
All of these negotiations are supposed to take Africa forward towards what we're calling a just transition. That transition is not going to happen if we don't have green businesses and green economies at the anchor. And so the partnership with JustPoint is essentially a step in that direction.
The ranking member on the Parliament's Environment Committee, Professor Hamza Adam, commended the initiative, adding it will help bridge the gap between theory and practice, academia and industry.
It's a partnership that is supposed to enhance growth, a partnership that is going to cause development for both institutions. I know that looking at the area, the subject matter where the partnership is going to target, the area of grain transition, we're looking at agriculture, mineral exploitation, waste management. It is very important, especially at the very time that we are battling with the issue of climate change. I see this partnership to bridge the gap between theory and practice.
In her address, a senior sustainability officer at JustPoint Green Transition Office, Dr. Gloria Kusibuama said the Memorandum of Understanding symbolizes a shared vision where research informs action.
Now, away from that, Ghana's Minister of State is in charge of climate change and sustainability. Isifu Seidu has called for strengthening of the Global Adaptation Fund.
We have invested more than $200 million in the Greater Accra Resilient Integrated Development. We have also invested 3.8 billion euros in climate risk transfer. We have invested nearly $670 million in 7 sea defense projects across Ghana's coastline. Optimizing the energy transition framework in COP27, we have operationalized the Carbon Market Office and signed bilateral cooperation agreement on Article 6.2 with the government of Switzerland, Sweden, and Singapore. The scope of support for global adaptation efforts is inadequate to address the problem on hand. It needs to be accelerated quickly. It is imperative that the global goal on adaptation be operationalized, and that, among other things, the Adaptation Fund be strengthened to provide the most vulnerable nations with sufficient assistance.
Some more social stories. As Chairman of Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament, James Agaga has led a monitoring visit by the committee to the recruitment center at the Elwak Stadium following the resumption of the recruitment exercise after a stampede which claims 6 lives caused the exercise to be suspended. He expressed satisfaction with the conduct of today's exercise. The Ghana Armed Forces has, however, confirmed the arrest of an individual for forging documents during the ongoing military recruitment exercise in Accra. Now, my colleague Shadrach Odame Jari is at the Elwak Stadium, and he gives us updates what else you can expect out there. So, good afternoon to you, Shadrach.
And through your process, you find out that I carried, or I perchance got a fake summary sheet. What happens to me?
So, because we want to get to the roots of the syndicate that is producing fake documents for unsuspecting Ghanaians, we will hand you over to the police for further investigation. Right now, today, apart from the summary sheet, we also had one gentleman who came in with a forged JHS or JHS certificate, yes.
So for such a person, what happens? Also to the civil police?
Also to the civil police for further investigation.
Okay, so when you say further, because usually once you mention police, everybody thinks you have brought the person for arrest. But maybe I am eager to serve my nation, so I paid 1 cedi and then somebody got me this. How is it my fault? And when you are saying you're